Okay, well, good Monday afternoon, Jet fans. Good victory Monday afternoon, Jet fans. It is 1:56 p.m., December 23rd, 2019. Happy Hanukkah to all who celebrate. That started yesterday, I believe. Happy Festivus, that is today, if you celebrate. And then, of course, Merry Christmas um, coming up, tomorrow being Christmas Eve and Christmas Day being on Wednesday. Before we get to our victory recap of the Jets, let's look around the NFL over this weekend's games. Games started as early as Saturday. Saturday had some good games. Buffalo, New England. In New England, New England just catches the breaks. Good teams get that. They go to 12-3. Buffalo goes to 10-5. New England has won the AFC East for the 11th year in a row. Buffalo is locked in though at a playoff spot with the wild card. Um, the Rams and the 49ers rounded off the third game on Saturday. Um, and they were a tight game towards the end. It was a field goal difference. San Fran wins. They go to 12-3. Rams fall to 8-7. 34-31, the final score. San Fran looking to lock up number one overall. Uh, Rams looking to lock in some sort of wild card. Saints beat Tennessee yesterday in Tennessee 38-28. Saints go to 12-3. Tennessee falls to 8-7. They have a chance at a wild card. Carolina loses in Indy 38-6. Indianapolis goes to 7-8. Carolina falls to 5-10. Baltimore and Cleveland. Odell Beckham showing frustration, cursing out head coach Freddie Kitchens on the sideline. Boos rain down on Baker Mayfield. Baltimore 31, Cleveland 15. Baltimore 13-2. They can have the number one seed overall. Cleveland is 6-9. Um, and they are, I believe, out of the playoffs now. Uh, and I believe that Baltimore will have the number one seed overall. I'm not sure if they can be caught. Dallas and Philly in Philly. Philadelphia beats the Eagles. Philadelphia beats the Cowboys 17-9. Both teams are 7-8. That means an 8-8 team will win the NFC East. Philadelphia could win as they control their own destiny with a win over the Giants in MetLife on Sunday. Dallas needs, of course, a Washington loss and a Dallas win. I don't know what the other scenarios are. Seattle goes to 11-4. They beat the Cardinals. I'm sorry, Seattle falls to 11-4 as they lose to the Cardinals 27-13 in Seattle. 5-9-1 is Arizona. Seattle again 11-4. They are in the playoffs. Late breaking news: Marshawn Lynch is flying into Seattle for a physical and can try to rejoin his team for the playoffs. He was on IR, I believe. Um, so I'm not sure when he can join. I don't know if he's going to join for first week in playoff, second week, but he is flying in right now. Kansas City beat the Chiefs last night. Kansas City beat Chicago last night, 26-3. Kansas City goes to 11-4. Chicago 7-8. Kansas City's still trying to vie for the seeding in the playoffs. They're in, but we're not sure if they're going to be the 2, 3, or 4. The Giants outlast Washington in overtime. Um, I think it was, they said Daniel Jones threw for 5 touchdown passes. Saquon Barkley had a good game. Giants go to 4-11. Washington goes to 3-12. And then they said there was a kind of a thing on Twitter today. 16 seasons in the league, and last night Eli Manning was caught partying with his teammates in a bar in Manhattan, I believe it was. It was caught on Twitter, but no problems or anything like that. Just them celebrating. Um, so tonight the week 16 ends off Vikings at Packers. Vikings at 10-4. Packers 11-3. Packers getting 4.5. I love the Packers in this game. I know they've had some down games, but I think they wrap this up. I'm not sold on the Vikings, even though they're very good at home. I'll take the 4.5. So yesterday, New York Jets host their final uh, home game for the 2019 season. These 10 games at home went quickly, the 2 preseason and the 8 regular season. And like I said, we've been to a few functions at the stadium this year. Of course, the 10 games that were played, we did family day over at the stadium, and we watched practice. So it was, it goes very fast. Um, It's not where we want to be. I keep saying we want to be where the Bills are. At this point, I thought we'd be there, but I expected from past experiences the Steeler Nation to have a loud voice in MetLife. And let's not get carried away. They travel well to every stadium. They travel well to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. They travel well to Seattle. They travel well to San Fran. They travel well to Dallas. They're all over the country. So to say, oh, they took over MetLife, listen, Christmas weekend, the team has 5 wins. People are going to try to make their money back on tickets. If this game meant something, I'm sure there would have been many Steeler fans there. I'm sure a lot of these tickets were bought at the beginning of the season. I'm sure as the season progressed, prices dropped. Um, but to say that they outnumbered us, I would say it was 50-50 yesterday. I've seen it where it was 60-40 and even 70-30. They were loud. Some of them were obnoxious. Some of them act like and not just some Steel fans, but act like they know the game. First drive of the game, I'm with my girls and we're watching it, and two Steeler fans are standing next to me, and it was third and something, I believe, and the Jets were moving the ball, and flag gets thrown after the Jets pick up a first down, and they go, oh, that's it. It was false start against the Jets. It's going to move them back. It's going to be a loss of down. It's going to be, they're going to be out of field goal range. And it was two penalties on the defense on on the Steelers. Gave the Jets a first down, and then the Jets wound up going down and scoring a beautiful touchdown. Robbie Anderson, oh my God, Sam Donald just zipped it in over two defenders. Robbie brought it in back in the end zone, sprawling out. Great catch. The Jets had a 10-0 lead. They started off. They were playing against Hodges. I never realized they called him the Duck. Devlin Hodges, I call the Duck. There was people with ducks on their heads. But they had a 10-0 lead. They intercepted Hodges twice. And then the Jets gave up the ball, and it was 10-3. And then with 9 seconds left, and again, this is something that the Jets have to be made aware of. 9 seconds left. The Steelers are out of timeouts, so it's either going to be a play down the sideline or a play in the end zone. Long pass in the end zone, it's a touchdown, and it's 10-10 at the half. And that kind of hurt. The Jets had the ball in pretty decent field position prior to the Steelers scoring, and it was a strip sack fumble by Watt on Donald. Donald actually got punched in the groin as he was getting strip sacked. I've read that Watt has done that in the past. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not, but it was 10-10. I have to say Sam Fickens was good. He was 3 of 3 on field goals. 3 of 3. No, I'm trying to think how many field goals did he hit. Let's see. So they won 16. Yeah, 3 of 3 on field goals. The Jets defense held the Steelers to no points in the second half. At one point, Mason Rudolph came in. Then he got injured on a botched snap because they lost their center. Their center had a non-contact injury. In the end, it was 16-10 Jets. Le'Veon Bell had 90-something yards from scrimmage, 93 from scrimmage, I believe. He had 72 on the ground on 25 carries. He averaged 2.9. Sam was 16 of 26 for 183, a touchdown. No INTs, but he did lose that fumble. Crowder had the most receptions with 4. He had 60 yards. Robbie had 2 for 32 yards, but he had that touchdown. Berrios, I think it's Braxton Berrios, punt returner, playing well. One of the top punt returners this year. Not only yardage, but holding the ball. He received a lot of punts yesterday, and a lot of, every time they punt off, I'd say just hold the ball. Just make sure you don't drop the ball. He held on. Like I said, the Steelers had 2 quarterbacks. They had Rudolph, who came in relief and then was left. He was 14 of 20, 129 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Duck Hodges, Devin Hodges, 11 of 17, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. May had 2 INTs. I'm sorry, May had an INT and 2 pass deflections. Millette had an INT. May had a great game. It came down to, of course, it was a 6-point game, and to me, this is what gets me. The Jets were moving the ball. They weren't great, but they were moving the ball against a good defense, and it almost like with 14 minutes left, I turned to my daughter, turned to the guy next to me. I said, "It's like they're trying to milk the clock with 14:03 left. Score some points. They're playing for a field goal. They're playing to make it a 6 point game. 6 point game, but a touchdown still loses this game." And it came down to the final possession. It was 16-10, and on a third, and I don't know how long, maybe third and seven, maybe third and seven, we'll call it. Um, Hodges threw a ball deep, beautiful pass. Um, and Marcus May went up and knocked it out of the receiver's hands, or else it's a touchdown. Marcus May also played it perfectly because they didn't throw a flag on it either. So I give him a lot of credit. He played a hell of a game. We met him after the game. He was limping a little bit. He stopped by and spoke to the fans for a little bit. Le'Veon went over to some of the Steelers, was talking to them. Before the game, he signed some Steeler jersey for the fans there. Um, it was all in all a good game. Hines Ward, the former receiver and Super Bowl champ, and I believe Pro Bowl, not Pro Bowl, Super Bowl MVP with the Steelers, got a Gatorade bath after they beat his old team. Um, and I just read a stat where the Jets have given up one touchdown in the last 13 um, quarters. So one touchdown, 13 quarters. It's over a 3 game span that their defense gave up one touchdown. And I know against the Dolphins they gave up 7 field goals. Yesterday was one touchdown. So that's amazing. Amazing stat. You just try to think about what would have happened if they would have had Avery Williamson and if they would have had CJ and and whatnot. Jamal had 2 tackles for losses. Didn't record a sack. Um, but he had some inspirational words after the game, talking about how this team is growing and where they could be and where they should be next year. Le'Veon Bell did the same thing. So the 2 guys that I thought did not want to be around may want to stick around. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the coach is going to try to move Bell or Adams or both or neither. Um, I'm not even sure if it'll be the same coach. That's something we'll see probably in the next week or so. Probably a week or so from today. Um, but in the end, it was a 16-10 win. There was a lot of fights in the stands. It was a lot of bickering back and forth. Um, one guy, and you gotta. If you're a Jet fan, you wanted to just win this game and shut these people up because they're being obnoxious, and that's what we did. And I'm walking with my girls to meet the players afterward, and one guy is, he had too much to drink, and he's, yelling at Steeler fans. He was a Jet fan. He was wearing a Todd jersey, so the guy's probably in his 60s or what have you. And one guy goes, "Oh, 1969," and he turned around and he goes, "Who cares? You lost today." So that's the way it was yesterday. Um, I hooked up with a buddy of mine that I met at the game, Justin, cool young kid who's in college. He's going into sports management. Reminds me a lot of myself. Of him. He reminds me a lot of myself when I used to go to the games. When I first started going to the games, my father. He knows all the players. He gets the autographs. He meets them afterwards, and he kind of, he'll hang with my daughters and get them autographs as well. Um, so you have this good situation in the stadium. You say goodbye to your friends and your neighbors at the stadium for the last time till next season. Till maybe you see them at the draft. I know I saw the guy that sits behind me at the draft last year. Maybe camp and then the first preseason game. But basically, this is it until probably 8 months from now. And then I told my daughters, all right, come on, one last time. The play's gonna be a good good mood. Let's see how they're doing. So we went and Marcus May came over, like I said, for a little bit. Jonathan Harris, I can't remember his last name, who is the team player of the year, came and he signed. We met a few players. Really cool. Robbie Anderson came out, and people were calling him over. He didn't come over. He went into the parking lot, and then he pulled up with his car, this Lamborghini SUV crossover, music pumping, and he took pictures and signed for a few people, hung out a little bit. Le'Veon Bell came out with a full entourage. Um, I think it was his daughter as well, and his mom was there, and a car pulled up, and people got in, and Bell put stuff in the car, and then he walked over and he signed for a lot of the players, a lot of the fans. My daughter took a selfie. Both daughters took selfies with him. He was really cool with them. Not like what I would have expected. More down to earth. In fact, one of my daughters went to take a selfie, and somebody put a cup out in front of her, I think, or stepped in front of her. And he's like, my daughter said, "Oh, I can't get the picture." He's like, "Come on, move the camera this way." And he kind of moved the camera for her. So they met Bell, and then once Bell left, Donald came out, and Donald signed for everybody there. He signed one of our mini helmets. He took selfies with my girls. He actually walked past my girls and came back. I was like, "Oh, I forgot to give you selfies." And he did a selfie with them. Quinton Williams came out, and if you look at Quinton Williams, he he reminds me of the big heavy set guy from Old School, Quincy. And it's funny because they call him Q also. He has braces on. He doesn't look like a football player. He just it looks like a high school guy that you would hang around and talk about rap music with back in the '80s. But he was really cool. He came out with a couple of his friends, and I guess it might have been his girlfriend. I don't want to start rumors, but she was pointing out all the kids, and Quinn went over to all the kids to sign footballs and whatnot. Took selfies with my girls, and it was all in all a great game, a great finale to a season that had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of questions on this team going forward. Um, but they still have next week to play. They still have Buffalo, who'll probably put in a lot of their backups next week. I would say Buffalo starts their starters first quarter to maybe the first half, and then after that they go to their backups to get ready for the playoffs. The Jets could end off at 7-9 after starting 1-7, which is amazing, and it just kills me that they could go 7-2 down the stretch. Um, with losses to a team like Baltimore that is great, and losses to to what you call it? I'm sorry, New England. What happens if Sam doesn't miss 4 weeks? I went into my eye. I'm sorry. What happens if CJ doesn't go down? What happens if Avery doesn't go down? I mean, I keep saying that what ifs, and that's part of the league. But this team has more talent that's given credit for. It did a lot with its backups. Um, you know, there's I believe his name is Austin Bless or Bless Austin, who's emerged in the secondary as a good player. We would never found that out if we didn't lose uh, some of our starting secondary players. Um, it's just Tremaine Johnson went down. It's just I think we need, and no disrespect to Sam Ficken, you're not consistent, but we need a kicker. Um, Fickens has not been consistent. Um, Even Latch Edwards, who's been pretty solid this year, had an up and down game yesterday. Berrios has played well on special teams. Um, so I'm not going to do grades or anything like that until the end of the season, until the season is over. But I'll take the win yesterday. The Jets right now, I believe, hold the 12th draft spot. Um, and I'm not even worried about that, because draft picks are not you know guaranteed to pan out, no matter how good or bad. Just look right now. Daniel Jones had an up and down season. Sam has had an up and down season. Baker Mayfield has been more of a down season than an up season. So my outlook is we got to see where we are in 10 days from now, 11 days from now. Do we have a coach, or are we coachless, or is it Adam Gase going forward? And you give Joe Douglas the off season to work with. Um, so that's about it. Um, I'd like to wish everybody, like I said, happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus, Merry Christmas, um, happy Kwanzaa, whatever you may celebrate or not celebrate. I'm going to try to do a video later on this week with the holidays and whatnot. It may not jive. I'll do a quick one, and that's basically it. Check us out, www.nyjetstories.com, www.nyjetstories.com. on Facebook. NY Jet Stories is the Facebook page. On Twitter at NY Jet Stories, and of course on this YouTube channel, Alex Poziali, NY Jet Stories. We want to hear from the fans. We want to hear from you. Yesterday they did the Fan Hall of Fame. It's the third annual Fan Hall of Fame. People like Fireman Ed won the first year. Was nominated the first year and elected the first year. I've yet to get called. I don't know if I'll ever get called, but the team is trying to recognize fans who make the Jets part of their lives. And what I have to say is, a lot of the fans do. There's a lot of fans that bitch about the team and can complain about a win. And I can remember standing at the game back in, I guess, '05 or maybe '06, '07. At, um, Probably '07, and it was Jets KC last game of the season, rainy, miserable day, and people are chanting BUSH 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 Bush. They wanted the Jets to lose for Reggie Bush. Um, I mean, like I said, draft picks are not guaranteed. I'll take the win. The Jets are 5-3 at home this year. They're above 500 at home. They lost to Buffalo. They lost to New England, and they lost to Cleveland. You know, it's New England is a playoff team. Buffalo's a playoff team, a team that we should have beat probably, and Cleveland we probably would have beat if Sam was healthy. So again, all the best for the holiday season. Thank you for following me throughout the season. I'm going to try to continue this even in the off season. Keep the news coming. Quickly. Yesterday, Brandon Marshall did a report. I want to say Brian Costello of New York Post, and basically spoke about the 2015 season and going to Buffalo, and a win gets them in. And he called out Sheldon Richardson and Darrell Revis, and basically said they never stepped off the bus. That the big guys that you depended on were just getting paid, and they were stealing from the Jets. And he said that's the way it was. Um, which is crazy because I can remember always saying that Revis played Sammy Watkins too far off, and he gave up a lot of yardage, and they wound up losing to Buffalo and Rex in that game, where Fitzpatrick threw 3 interceptions on the last 3 drives, um, and they couldn't make it to the playoffs. But he said if somebody like Revis and Sheldon would have stepped up, they would have crushed the playoffs. Um, on a side note as well, Brandon Marshall never made the playoffs in his 13-year career. So just that I read that this morning. That was a late tweet also. So again, thanks for your support, guys, throughout the season, and I hope to hear from everybody soon. And please send me your tweets, send me your emails, send me your texts, and go Jets.